Okay, so before we get into the subject of today's video, I've got 2 things I'd like to quickly address. Okay, 3. Firstly, yesterday people were confused about the first bit of the video. That was a Sammich Wench style video sent to me on Twitter. It was linked in the description. I will link it again today if you're at all interested. Second, to the person who is trying to troll me on Twitter, good luck with that. And third, this is more of a serious one. Sometimes I have a tendency to say things without realising what I've said, and then I get a comment that shocks me and I have to take a moment and think about it. And for the remainder of yesterday I actually felt quite guilty about it. You see, in yesterday's video, when you eventually got to the video itself, I threw a little shade at the honey badgers, and then I was left a comment by somebody I respect beyond measure, I really do, which, while self-deprecating in its comment, his comment, pointed out that I kind of threw them under the bus a bit. Threw shade at them, spoke of them negatively, and I shouldn't, because 2 of them are responsible for me even being a content creator. They inspired me, Doc being one and Karen being the other. So for that, for being rude about the honey badgers, I am sorry. I could spend the remainder of this video making excuses, but after seeing many different videos where people supposedly apologised over lengthy periods of time, they failed to magnificently, because they explained the apology and by doing so unapologised. So I hope that's cleared up. Now the subject of today's video is one that is going to require a change of clothing. So 1 second. Okay, the subject of today's video is one that irked me quite a bit, but I thought I'd hold off until more information came to light. You see, on this channel we have actually covered a subject very, very similar to this, and I'm going to paint a picture for you. So, when a mummy and daddy love each other very much, or 2 people randomly have sex and a child is born because of it, they have children, and they either start a relationship because they got pregnant, or because they love each other and they decided to have a child. I would argue the former is more common than the latter these days. Hell, my next door neighbour's got 3 kids in their early teens and all 3 of them are about to become parents. It's astonishing. I thought the bike down the road would be first, but she's twice their age. Doesn't matter. Now, with a lot of relationships, people eventually fall out. They move on. They break up. This causes inevitable problems with visitation rights. Now, if that is at all possible and resolved, then of course you have the dilemma of raising a child in a broken home. The child will inevitably have a falling out with their parents over that, over why they didn't love them, or couldn't love each other enough to stay together, which is of course the totally healthy thing to do. Insert sarcasm sign here. Now, after all of that, when the relationship is in a more stable position, or if the original relationship fell apart because of infidelity, you then hit the new problem, the either new mother or new father. Now, in the case of this story, new father. And when that happens, the child born out of the now broken relationship will either like the new guy or girl, in this case guy, or resent them, and of course by extension either grow to want their father around more, or mother, but father in this case, or grow to resent them more. This is all important because, depending on the nature of the breakup and the mental stability of those involved, we are then able to ascertain whether or not jealousy, because of the moving on element of the other person, plays a part in what someone decides to do. That someone in this case being this colossal waste of life. Now, I'm going to give you the sentence now. Life. The sentence is life. I'd go so far as to ban you from ever seeing anyone. I might even take it a little further and say you are in solitary confinement ADSEG. You are there, ADSEG or ADSEC? It's administrative segregation, ADSEG, for the remainder of your life. You have committed the ultimate crime, the ultimate betrayal of a parent, one where you would not be safe the moment you went into a prison in the first place. There are more than likely sex offenders who will want to hurt you sexually, do things to you that you, quite frankly, and it could be argued, you deserve. And by argued I mean by other people, because my sentence is life. My sentence is ADSEG. If I was a little more callous, I'd say Gen Pop, but on the condition you wore a big t-shirt with the words, "I murdered my daughter because I got jealous of my ex-partner. Yeah, I'm that guy." And on the back simply, "Fuck me," with an arrow pointing down to his rump. When the police broke into the house to arrest him under the suspicion of him attacking a child with a deadly weapon and himself holding a deadly weapon, He went so far as to defend himself while his daughter lay in a pool of blood by saying, "I was trying to protect her from the internet." Then as more came out, it was noted by 2 ex-partners of him who did not take the stand but gave some statements or verified accounts of what he had done, that he had shown unstable behaviours in the past. He is somebody prone to jealousy and anger. He went so far in this case to try and protect himself, twice attempting to kill himself, once before he was arrested, when he stabbed himself twice and then tried to cut his throat. The second time, while in custody, he cut his wrists in his cell with a razor blade, for which he had to have an operation on just to save his life, just to make sure that he lived long enough to be sentenced. And we will get to that soon enough. You see, this man went through a rather interesting turn of events. He lost his partner to another woman, his partner being 20 years his junior, a man with 6 children, and he decided to get back at this one because she decided she felt closer to a woman than to him, a geriatric, junkie-looking fuck. I know earlier I stated it is a man, but, well, masculine, feminine is always one in the relationship. I meant to say female, so correction on my part. This is the single most selfish thing any man could ever do. That child unconditionally trusted you, and I'm sure I mentioned something similar like this when it comes to parenting and feminism earlier in the week. What you have done is betray a child that unconditionally loved and trusted you. We know this was premeditated, because you had planned to take her anyway. That much has been confirmed in the case against you, when you were found guilty, and what you did was selfish, because you decided to take away her life to get back at someone else. You took away a life that you brought into this world to get back at your ex. I have to repeat this because it absolutely dumbfounds me. Confounds me, dumbfounds me. It befuddles me that you would use your child as a scapegoat. You would cause the mother unending suffering and pain and grief, and undoubtedly psychological damage beyond reckoning, because you couldn't help but hurt her in the most brutal way. I was reading the article and I noted what people had heard the child screaming before you put your hand over her mouth. I'm not going to read that. It actually hurts to say it, and I feel the sentence is just because of it. You being in your 50s, this would almost make it seem like you're not going to actually get out of prison well until you're 82. That's right, everyone. He has been jailed for a minimum of 27 years, and that is a minimum. There is no early parole for good behaviour, although I can't imagine anyone would want to let this man out of prison, and I can't imagine he would mind anyway, since he was an unemployed factory worker anyway. At his age, he would be lucky to get a job ever again. Now, though, he has the added perk. Not only does he not have to work, but when he comes out, he will undoubtedly be on his last legs anyway. You deserve to die in prison, but hopefully it will be on the very last day of your prison stay, as in the very moment you're about to be paroled, you die, denying you the satisfaction of freedom, because you don't deserve it. And I hope the remaining 5 children you have with your other partners don't ever see you again, and do more in their life than you ever could. Perhaps they could emulate their uncle, the famous one. Oh, I didn't mention this. Yeah, his brother is actually famous. Doesn't matter now, I guess. To the young lady who passed, rest in peace. To the prick who's still here, I hope you die on your final day in prison. So I hope everyone has a lovely Wednesday. Oh, hang on, one last thing. Hopefully, for the last 2 weeks, PMQs has not been on. It should be on tomorrow. I hope it is. If it is, 9:30 PM GMT, Cthulhu-Kin and Friends show. I will be streaming a response to Prime Minister's questions. So I hope everyone has a lovely Wednesday, and thank you all for listening.
Oh, goddowns.
In your ass.
Imagine my shock